What's up, danglers? So we are finally here with our Monsterbass Topwater Slam Challenge. We are at that secret location you see me at every now and then. I figure we'll start here and then kind of work my way a little further into town and some further away locations. This location is actually very close to my house, so I figured why not start close. All right, so with that being said, we are going to start off with my 3-for-1 deal, as I like to call it. We got that Thunderhawk buzzbait paired with that 3/0 Mustad EWG hook with a Z-Man hard legs frog. So if I can catch something on this, we'll bang 3 out right off the bat and then we can move on. All right, so let's start with this guy and then we'll take it from there. All right, so I just worked the whole lake and I had one little swirl on that 3-for-1 buzzbait. So I'm gonna give that a little bit of a break and I'm gonna try that Z-Man hollow body popping frog. Alright, so nothing on the first two, which was unfortunately my concern from the very beginning of doing this. I'm going to try to stay optimistic here, and we're going to jump over to that Patriot 3.0, see if they want some walking action. To be perfectly honest, for my area, time of year, for me the best topwater bait to be throwing is a crawler, and fortunately we did not get any kind of crawlers in this bag, so I may do a little bit of an experiment here. We'll see how this walking bait works. If I can at least catch one on here, I'll at least move locations and keep trying, but if not, do a little experiment. Alright, so 1, no action on this. 2, does not quite walk as nicely as I feel like it should, especially for a $10 bait. So yeah, with that being said, guys, I'm going to do a little bit of an experiment here. Because this, to be perfectly honest with you, is now my 3rd try at this. And it just does not, it's not consistent whatsoever. So, yeah, let's try that little bit of an experiment here and see what we can do. Alright, time for our little experiment. So here we got a crawler. This guy is made by Jackal. It is called the Pompadour. I believe it is in some kind of bluegill color. But this right here, guys, is what I would normally be throwing for my area in this time of year. And so far, it has paid off. It caught me my first entry to Not Just Fly's annual Big Bass Contest. Caught me a 5-pounder, as you can see. It is covered in teeth marks. So yeah, let's see what happens when I tie on what I believe is the best thing to be using for topwater in my region and this time of year. Alright, so if that don't prove my point, you'll know it does. Oh, what was that? 4 minutes? Yep. Nice chunk. Number 2. Beast. Ugh. Number 3. Number 4, right? 4? I think we're at 4. I believe we're at 4. All right, danglers, so as you just saw, things did not go as planned at all. And unfortunately, since I started doing slam challenges for Monster Bass, they haven't ever gone as planned. And for the longest time, I was blaming myself. I was blaming the time of year, the body of water, the weather, etc., etc. And after what I just did, I think I could finally put all of that to rest, and that was not the case at all. Unfortunately, I do believe it has to do with some of the stuff I am getting in these bags. We'll start with just the kind of topwater baits we got this month. The one, I should say last month at this point, the one type of topwater bait that I thought for sure would be in this bag would be a crawler. To me, a crawling bait this time of year is probably one of the most productive topwater baits there are. Perfect example right off the bat was that pompadour. That caught me my first entry to Not Just Flies Big Bass Contest. And that was a 5-pounder. And this guy, actually not this guy in particular, this one, the 5-inch Savage Gear 3D bat, caught me my PB and gave me my first win for Not Just Flies annual Big Bass Contest. That's this guy. And then we can get into a little more fancy schmancy, a little more expensive here, if I can get it. This is the Mega Bass Eye Wing. This is a $60 bait. But this one, as you guys can see, comes out on a 90, so you have a little more control of how this thing works. So that really, really slow retrieve will actually be super effective, especially with this guy. But yeah, so I was pretty surprised on that. So I think based off that, I'm going to start doing in my unbaggings and stuff, giving my suggestions on what I feel like should have been and what could be in the bags in the future. Because the fact that I was not able to really produce anything out of 5 different baits out of that bag, and then as soon as I tied one of these crawlers on, 4 fish. So yeah, I think I'm going to start doing that. I mean, I think this bat right here, it's a $5 bait maybe. Put more of these in there. You got your Jitterbug 2.0s that just came out not too long ago. I'm sure you might be able to find even the Pompadour for a little bit better of a price. But yeah, so I think that's what I'm going to start doing from now on, because that was pretty discouraging, not going to lie. And then even other things I'm going to start suggesting as far as soft plastics, like these guys. I'm talking about them all the time. Yes, they're a little more expensive, probably a little more than your average soft plastic, but the difference that these things make, especially the Bellows Gills along with the Spirons, is unmatched. I've fished lakes for nearly 20 years and barely caught anything out of them, and as soon as I started using these guys, it was like a whole new lake. So there's that. And as far as some of these baits performances, one of the things I love about Monsterbass is that they support smaller companies, which if anybody who has been following me for a while now knows that that's what I'm all about, whether it be not just flies, or even if you haven't checked out my other page, Hook, Line, and Pokeball, the toy chest, I will actually be doing some stuff with him for fishing as well, so stay tuned for that. But my issue is I don't believe they're being tested properly, or at least not tested under heavy load, let's put it that way. For example, I think it was the what was it, the Vicious Pop Bar, for example. That Pop Bar, for one, in my opinion, looked very, very similar to a Rebel Pop Bar. I actually have 2 I'm going to compare real quick for you. Give me 1 second. Okay, I'm back. So here we have the Vicious Pop Bar. And this is in the bone color. And this is brand new, fresh out of the package. This is actually my roommate's that he got in last month's bag. Right, and then this guy right here, picked up from Not Just Flies. And the similarities are a little too much for me. Now, the one thing in particular, if I can open the thing. Alright. So just right off the bat, you know, you'll notice you got those stripe markings on the side. Same thing over here. Again, very similar. Whereas the Vicious is a little bigger. Okay, and that was actually the one thing I liked about it, but I got a few pops out of it and it just sank on me. Again, it's just one of those things where it's frustrating, especially with a slam challenge, because you know baits like this work fantastic, but when you can't get it to operate properly, it kind of defeats the purpose, or, you know, it's a little counterproductive. So yeah, there's that. And then let's, like, say the Fat Bastard Frogs. Love the name, love the design. I get 2 pops out of it and the thing sinks. So yeah, you know, and again, the Patriot 3.0, for a $10 walking bait, it should not be that difficult to walk. Unfortunately, I'm having even trouble walking that, whereas I could throw on a Zara Spook, have no problems. I can give it to my significant other and she walks it beautifully. So yeah, so with that being said, guys, I'm definitely going to start throwing my 2 cents in a little more, and I'm going to be a little more critical. And hey, I would also love to maybe become a tester for some of these companies, especially with how much I fish and the fact that it's, you know, basically my living. Because I really think a lot of these are not being tested enough, you know, whereas maybe some people or the certain companies throw them out, they test them a couple times, seems okay, and then out on the market it goes, where I feel like it just needs a little more time. I could be wrong, but this is just my opinion and what I'm experiencing. So it pains me to say, as of right now, I will no longer be doing slam challenges with Monsterbass until maybe things maybe smooth out a little bit for me personally. Like I said, I'm just not having any luck, and by doing my little experiment, that kind of puts that to rest for me. But yeah, stay tuned for my next unbagging, or again, I may be a little more critical than I usually am. I may give more suggestions, all that good stuff. Along with that, I'll be getting my Super K jigs very shortly, and with that being said, Super K jigs will continue to get slam challenges, so there will be a replacement. There will still be slam challenges, so don't worry. And then I will be collaborating with the toy chest. That will also be coming very soon. That's going to be fun. That's going to be super fun, so definitely stay tuned for that. And yeah, hopefully things go well for me with this whole thing, and I will definitely keep you guys posted. Don't forget to subscribe, guys. Hit that notification bell, drop some comments, hit that like button, and I and my JDM products, we'll catch you later.